Hey everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. So in this tutorial, what we're going to cover is how to create applications with that are a lot more busy with respect to text boxes, buttons, and different input items. So what you see in front of you is something like a form where a user would have to enter certain information. First item could be their name, second item could be their age, and you would have all these different inputs. But what's important about this application here is that they're organized in a way that they're not all smushed. For example, you don't have the window resized to an appropriate size. Everything seems to fit well. And even if the user wanted to expand things, the application still looks okay. So the way this is possible is through something called sizers, and that's what I'm going to cover in this video. So when you're ready, let's get started. Alright, so let's get started with our application. So I have the same layout I've had previously. So I have classes for my app, my frame, and a class for a panel. And the label for this panel is now my form, because I'm creating a form for users to input information in. And basically what I want in this form is a title, some inputs, and a submit button at the bottom. And that submit button is actually going to be just an OK or cancel button. And along with the title and each of these inputs, there's going to be an icon logo, and then a label, and then the input itself. So to save time, I'm going to copy and paste these buttons over here, and let me just kind of explain what is going on here. So the first thing that I need to do is grab an icon, and this is just some arbitrary icon. It's just wx information, so it's just an info icon, nothing fancy. And I'm sizing it to be 16 by 16, so it's pretty small, so it'll fit along with the labels and the titles and etc. So the next thing is to build or to include a title onto this application. So the title first needs to start out with the icon. So I have title icon, then the title provided by static text. For each of the following inputs, I'm going to use the same pattern. So there's going to be the input icon, the label, and the input type. And here for the first input, I'm using a text control. So it's basically a text box. So somebody can enter their name or whatever. For the second input, we have the icon, the label, and a spin control button. So here, what spin control allows you to do is set a value between 0 and 100. You could change the max to be something like 1,000, 10,000, etc., etc. Set a default value, and that's basically it. The third icon will be a choice box, so somebody can make a choice between A, B, or C, but you can't choose A and B. You can only choose one. The fourth input will have the logo, the label, same pattern, but here I have 3 checkboxes. And so somebody can choose 1 item, 2 items, or 3 items. It's not one or the other like the choice button. And the last thing that needs to be added onto this application, for the buttons at least, is the OK button and cancel button. And these are just vanilla plain old buttons. They don't, so far none of these buttons are actually doing anything, and I'm not going to program this now. I'll leave that up to you guys if you want to add some functionality to this. So the main point of this video is to basically create an application that has a bunch of stuff going on in it and not have it be displayed in a junky manner. So I think I can run the application right now, and you could see what would go on. Let's see, unexpected indentation on title icon. I think over here, let's see what happened. Okay. Let me run the application again. Okay, so the application is actually not even showing up. So you can see here on the terminal that I'm calling the application, but it's not showing up. Basically saying that there's stuff here that I need to fix. So what I want to have to organize a lot of this stuff is a sizer. And so what is a sizer? So you can think about it as kind of like a grid organizer of the content in your desktop application. So things are going to move in a vertical manner and a horizontal manner, but you can only really choose one or the other. So I'm going to create a main sizer, and this thing is going to set the flow to move things in a vertical manner. I'm going to set that using wxVertical, if I can spell. All right. And box sizer actually has a default setting to allow things to move in a horizontal manner. So if I create title sizer, box sizer, I can leave this blank, and by default it'll be set to horizontal. But to be a little more explicit, I'm just gonna go ahead and write it all out. So what I have here is two sizers. One is the main, and this is going to be essentially the boss of all the other sizers, and a title sizer. And to move forward along, I'm going to copy and paste the rest of the sizers. And the reason I'm doing all this copying and pasting is not because I'm lazy, but because I really just want to stick to the point and keep the video nice and short. So now I have a main sizer, a title sizer, 4 sizers for the inputs, and a submit button sizer, and that will be for this OK and cancel button. Okay, we're almost there. So now that we have our sizers, we need to add the corresponding inputs to their sizers. So I'm going to start out with the title. So I'm flowing in the order that I want things displayed. So the title goes first. So title sizer, add, and add takes a couple arguments. So window, proportion, flag, and border. So the window is just going to be this title icon first. Proportion, I'm going to set that to 0. This proportion argument is essentially saying, okay, do you want things to move along with any window resizes that the user might have? And setting it to 0 means no, don't resize it. If I were to change that to 1, it'd be saying, yeah, okay, flow along with the window resize. Flags, you can add any flags that you want here. For now, I'm just going to include all, and that's because I want to add a border to that icon. So it's saying add a border all around this title icon. Next is the actual title. And that's it. It's literally that easy. And for the rest, I'm probably just going to do a lot of copying and pasting. So input one sizer, add, and I'm going to copy some of these arguments. So input one sizer is going to take input one icon, and that's it. Okay, next is the label. So I think I call that label 1. And input 1 was self input txt1. And this thing is just this button right here, this text control, which is that text box that I'm going to have. Next is some more copying and pasting. And I'm going to do this a couple of times. Alright, so now I just need to edit some of this stuff. So it's no longer input 1, we're at 2. And I actually forgot what I called that. I think I called that input 2. Yeah, 2. Okay, so I think that's it. Next, it is 3. Label 3. And this input will be, I think I called that, what did I call it? Input 3. Wow. Pretty creative. Let's see. Let's change all of these 1s to 3s now. And I'm going to change these 1s to 4. And what I'm hoping is that you kind of get the point that a lot of this stuff is pretty easy. It looks a lot more mysterious than it actually is. Let's see. This will be self input 4. Ah, yeah. I forgot. These are checkboxes. So there's going to be 3 of them. 3, 2, and 3. So these are the 3 checkboxes. Okay, so I think we're almost done. I'm just going to copy and paste the last sizer, and that's for that submit button. So let me double check these sizers. So think we are all here. There's a couple of things that I want to change, but I'm going to run the application as is for now and let you see what I need to change and why. So let's call main sizer now, and we need to add everything to these sizers. So title sizer goes first, 0, and the flag will be wx center because I want to center the title. And I think that's it. Okay, so main sizer, add input 1, no, sizer, and I'm going to set 0 flag wx all, and I'm going to add a border. Actually, I'm going to add a border to this too. wx all 5. Okay. So I'm just going to keep copying and pasting. So that should be 4, 2, 3, 4. All right, and lastly, main sizer, add submit button sizer. So that's it. Now that we have our sizers all created and organized, we need to set things up with the panel. So I'm going to call self set sizer, and I'm going to set the main sizer to be, or set the sizer to be the main sizer. And then I'm going to call main sizer fit self. And this is just to ensure that when I launch the application, the window is the appropriate size so things don't look smushed. And it doesn't hurt to call layout. Okay, so now I'm just going to grab my terminal and hopefully things run smoothly. Okay, I missed something. You can see that I passed the flag. So I'm just going to be lazy and I'm just going to remove flag. It's easier hitting delete than typing stuff in, so now it should work. No, okay, we're missing something. Input text 1. Let's see, you're saying you don't have that available. Did I misspell it? Okay, so what I'm going to do is copy this, and I'm going to go to sizer, and I might have done some misspelling. Yeah, I misspelled something. Okay, will you now work, please? Great. So we have our application, and you can see that things look okay, I guess, but not great. Not ideal. So one critique is these buttons down here. They're leaning to the left. They don't look that great. I'd prefer to have them in the center. This text box is kind of short. I'd prefer if it were extended all the way across. And so I'm going to change a couple of things. So let me close this application, move the terminal aside. Okay, so for this input sizer, I'm going to change this proportion to 1. And I'm going to go to that sizer as well, input 1 sizer. Change that from 0 to 1. And for the submit button, I'm going to type center. And hopefully that is it. Okay, so we were able to center these buttons, but this text box is still short. I mean, it's alright, but I really do want to get that to work. Let me add wx extend, and that's basically saying extend all across the window space. I'm going to add that here too. wx extend. Okay, you don't have that available? What is wrong? Was it expand? Yes, it was expand. Sorry, not extend, expand. Okay, great. So now my text box window is nice and wide, and you can see that if I stretch out the window, the text box also stretches out. And if you prefer, you can also add it to these 2 and 3 buttons. I don't think that's necessary, but whatever. And that's basically it. So that's how to create an application that has some busy stuff going on, some buttons, some inputs, and how to organize them with sizers.